It back to David Lee, better pass to Curry. He's fouled, laid it in! What a finish by Steph. Steph Curry! Trip, flip, and bucket.
All right, everyone is wrong about Stephen Curry's 3 points. Stephen Curry is rewarded as one of the best players who revolutionized the game, quite frankly, and is completely justified, to be completely honest. Before his offensive game bloomed, many considered that the three-point shot was more than just an afterthought. Since this unanimous MVP season, though, we have almost seen every superstar in the league try to hone in on their shots from deep.
Crossover, fires away. Wow! Another three from Curry! Oh my goodness! Curry with another three! The Warriors have a 10-point lead!
Most fans, young or old, have loved seeing players having to deepen their offensive bag and to try, the lone ball to add it to their game. But it seems, as with everything he ever done during his lifetime, Dennis Rodman is just built differently. NBA stars critique our boy Stephen Curry. Let's talk about it.
Curry takes it right back though. The lob to the rim and the throwdown. Oh, what a highlight! Curry takes it away from Joakim Noah. Lob dig.
All right, Bulls legend Dennis Rodman shared his thoughts on what the game is played today, claiming that it's difficult to watch the NBA nowadays. Wow. Hey, I don't want to watch players come down and shoot 50-footers. Hey, Rodman talked about the domination of the three-pointers with players like Stephen Curry and Dame Time, and changing the game's orientation. Not really. Seriously. Not really. Rodman said on watching these games in the NBA today, it's just very hard to watch because once you played the game the way you played, intensity, just competitiveness, but now it's more like, I don't want to watch players come down and shoot 50-footers. That's not basketball. I understand people want to score long range, but my God, it's difficult to watch. But a lot of kids love it. The Bulls legend played in a different era, where the three-pointer had not been much of a central role for a team strategy, you know what I'm saying? Rodman finished his career averaging 7.3 points per game, 7 rebounds, and 1.8 assists per game. The NBA has a three-pointer problem, but don't blame Stephen Curry. Hey, when you're watching Stephen Curry sink shots from half court with ease, or marveling at a guy like Klay Thompson's ability to reel off threes at a lightning-quick clip, and you'd have to be a monster to think that there's anything wrong with the state of the NBA and their three-pointers. But outside of the Warriors basketball utopia, hey, it's far more grimier states of affairs. And the math has spoken. A three-point attempt is much more valuable than a higher two-point percentage tool. Part of it is because missed threes often turn into easy twos. So if you really want to dive into the math, what's more important now is the consequence. Players camp out in the corner, big men stretch the floor as a matter of course, leaving the painted area abandoned. Guards fire off threes with abandon, and their coaches nod their heads in approval. Now the Warriors may be using the three-pointer as, one of those skills to launch a product and dominate the league. But when it comes down to everyone else, hey, a self-perpetuating tsunami of missed threes, the fact is still out. In fact, it might be hurting the league's overall production. Hey, in a game maybe 5 years ago, the Houston Rockets attempted 34 threes, only making 3, and still won. And in Minnesota, Kevin Love was a 25-12 power horse, you know what I'm saying, who worked effortlessly in the paint. And in Cleveland, he's been reduced to just a shooter. Shooting the ball at look at this, 36% behind the arc, which isn't good for him. And yet the Cleveland Cavaliers are without question were one of the best teams in the East during that time. And the results may be undeniable, but clanking shots and star players reducing their roles has hardly been, the reasons to watch the NBA. But right now, the demand for three-pointers have never been higher. Players have never been better or asked to make more threes. And the shorter corner, three is being exploited like never before. No one is disputing that the Warriors' decision to take as many threes as possible, given the strength of their players. It'd be irresponsible not to think so. But when the team finds success, they're bound to find copycats as well. Figures like Greg Popovich and Mark Jackson, hey, they have various times playing the three-point era hysteria on the Warriors. But hey, they didn't invent the analytics, driving the trend either. The Rockets still will be launching bombs, even if kids everywhere weren't trying to emulate a guy like Stephen Curry shooting. The league shouldn't be in the business of discouraging players' development, or impending evolution of the sport, but it is certainly a concern about the fans' perspective. When you're watching the Warriors, the three-point shooters are a boatload of fun. When it's the Rockets, they're a downer. And it's a reminder of the same thing, helping the analytics and the teams make petty unwatchable traits when it comes to watching the game of basketball. Hey, take the emergence of the stretch four though. The Hall of Famer, our guy, my boy, Dirk, is a great testament of how you can accomplish these things, of being a, kind of an inside-out threat. As the emergence of a guy, a godsend virtual and KP, Kristaps Porzingis, what hurts the game, it's players who only just barely sink just enough shots just to be justifying it. Hey, we used to think about big men developing a mid-range jumper. In the day, they spend most of their offseason adding a three to their repertoire. So the Warriors may have started the three-point happy small ball fad, but it's only a matter of time before teams realize that copying the Warriors and being the Warriors are two different things. And the three-pointer is no stranger to controversy. When the shot was adopted back in 1979 and 1980, some decried it as a gimmick, and at the time their suspicions were warranted. After all, the three was a product of a merger with the ABA league, you know what I'm saying? Whose version was a high energy, thrill in a minute type league, it was well matched by its fondness for attention grabbing antics and wacky marketing ploys. But when players like Larry Bird proved that it could be integrated into a particular all-around game, the critics began to shut the fuck up. For 1994 and 1995, the NBA moved the line in closer in an attempt to, curb poor shooting, mission accomplished. Except the change came at the expense of the overall quality of play. Not only did the three-point attempt skyrocket, the shift on the court crumpled the lanes and cramped everything, leading to static and quickly unwatchable basketball. The experiment proved short-lived, with the line moving back to its original place in the start of 1996 and 1997. It was starting to look like college basketball out there, you know what I'm saying? So I got a question. So moving the line back for three-pointers, as we know it certainly wouldn't cramp a guy like Stephen Curry. He would still get his rocks off. Or the likes of a guy like Kevin Durant, another high scorer who seemingly has unlimited range. And in some cases, it will open up the court for more driving opportunities. But would it make more sense if the shot has less attractive options for the player who aren't natural at shooting, from deep? Coaches would no longer have to rationalize a strategy focused on maneuvering three-point opportunities. Players will be forced back into the paint. No one's abandoned attacking the basket, and if anything, the likelihood of drawing a foul has made it more attractive. But the days of being a beastie-ass big man in the paint have come and gone. Yes, sir, and it has been erupted with a hawk. And it's hardly been the most glamorous part of the game, to be completely honest. But the essentials of it feeling, it could be well-rounded, something satisfying to the game of basketball, but I think people have grown accustomed to the lone ball. So in theory, moving the line would be a corrective measure, much like the league's decision to add more, of a strict enforcing hand-checking rule nearly a decade ago, now when I think about it. But even if you were to shift the line, it's virtually impossible to push the corner three further back than it is right now, and changing the actual dimensions of the court, especially if you wanted the same distance as a shot from the top of the key. The corner three is a fair summation of the game and what the NBA is facing. You can make the three-pointer much more difficult, bearing true extreme actions. There are no guarantee that the players won't find another way of taking them, though. That's why the only real option is to sit and wait for the pendulum to swing in the right direction. And the Warriors have started the happy small ball fad, but it's only gonna be a matter of time before teams realize that copying the Warriors and being the Warriors are two different things. It's not as if buckets around the baskets are somehow getting harder to make. If anything, the emphasis on perimeter play has opened up tremendously, and opportunities for big man and attacking guards. So it may not happen overnight. And given that threes have risen into a perimeter over these last few years, it is hardly expected that it will go into extinct. But things will change, innovation will continue, new math will emerge, but it's only a matter of time though before this current three-point craze passes. The worst thing the league can do is try and meddle instead of just letting the game naturally progress and run its course.